She's an award-winning YouTuber and best-selling author obsessed with helping you go after the life you want.
I like it.
Join her as she seeks out the stories and strategies
Give me every little detail.
of extraordinary people who found success.
I'm going to get emotional. Oh my God.
Welcome to Detail Therapy with Amy Landino.
Good morning, good life. Welcome back to Detail Therapy. In this episode, we're getting into the details about the biggest mistake influencers are making in their business. I have quite a bit of experience in my line of work when it comes to doing influencer type of jobs, and I thought it would be interesting to talk about this today because I have an idea. My team and I came up with an idea. So we wanted to gauge your interest and see what you think about it. And I know that there are some aspiring and current influencers who tune into this podcast. I don't know if influencer is something that speaks to everyone who listens to this podcast, but I do think there's some interesting tidbits here from a good business and stand up for yourself, respect yourself standpoint that will pay off for a lot of people. So maybe stay tuned to see if it's still useful to you if you're not an influencer. If you're new here, hello, my name is Amy Landino and I will be your host. I'm the founder of GATLU, which stands for Go After the Life You Want. We create resources for ambitious professionals who are ready to unleash their power, get unstuck, and create the life of their dreams. When you visit detailtherapy.online, you'll see all the details of all the stuff that we do, videos, books, blog posts, and the show notes for this podcast. And you can get more details about our daily motivational podcast. So if you need a little 2-minute kick in the pants, that's what we do in our premium community. It's called Shine Squad. Just tap the notes in your podcast player for links to everything I mentioned. And again, you could also just go to detailtherapy.online in your browser. So just full transparency, I'm on my first cup of coffee and I still have morning voice. I'm recording this in the morning. I don't typically record audio in the morning because I have a tendency to have this very low morning voice. But I just wanted to say that in case I sound a little different than usual, it's because I have a quiet house. And I really wanted to get this recorded because I'm very interested in what your thoughts are going to be on this whole thing. And I really want your feedback. So I'm not going to waste a lot of time. I want to get straight into it. Just to give you an idea, because social media and being a YouTube creator for more than 13 years, influencer work, although it wasn't called influencer work in the early days, has been a part of my line of work for a long time. So doing sponsored segments and having partners and working together to come up with campaigns and create advertising that is relevant to the audience. This is something that is a portion of our revenue and a part of our strategy. That's where my experience level comes from. I really have been more serious in doing quote unquote influencer deals or brand deals probably since we leveled it up a lot in 2018, where it was a little bit more few and far between prior to that. So what is that? 19, 20, 21, 22, 3 or 4 years or so. And so I've had quite a bit of experience with working with brands directly. And something you may not know if you're not super in this space is that I also work with a lot of agents. And agencies tend to represent brands, and sometimes they represent influencers as well. And you're typically going through them as a third party for a lot of different influencer campaigns. So when I'm presenting these ideas to you, I want you to think about it that way. There are a lot of people involved in this process. It's not like Coca-Cola calls you and says, "Hey, we love your TikTok." and we want to work with you. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes it is the brand directly. It just depends on how they have decided to um, how they've decided to work the deals in-house, or if they work with an agency, or if they work with somebody else entirely. So that's just a little bit of backstory there. Really, again, like I want to say, this has been going on for a long time. Businesses have been created for a really long time to try to support and help influencers. Back in the day, YouTube, it was more called a network when the partner program on YouTube was very coveted and very hard to achieve access to, which, if you're not familiar, when you are a YouTube partner, it means you are able to monetize your videos. That means you can make AdSense dollars on your videos. So, as that was already something that was becoming popular back in the day, something else that was becoming popular were these network companies. And being signed to a network was kind of looked at like a really big deal, like a really big deal. You had Maker Studios, who I believe went on to get acquired by Disney. You had just all of these different things going on, all these different companies who were saying, hey, we want to represent you. And if you let us represent you, we will be able to guarantee you a certain amount of money per views on your videos, which is similar, but probably a bit different, and it was, than Google AdSense. And we'll also connect you with partners. And another reason why people loved to do it was because if there were other creators signed by that network as well, they felt like they had more of an edge to be able to connect with those people and be able to collaborate with them and cross pollinate and grow their following. So it was a very, very big deal for a long time. And it kind of crashed and burned, in my opinion, because people realized it wasn't that great. Okay. Because what happens was at the time with networks, you would sign to a network. You then become a part of the network and you have to leave the YouTube partner program. This is my understanding, by the way. I have never signed to a network. I looked into it so many times. I was curious as to whether I should also be coveting a move like this. I should also want something like this. And it just never felt right to me because I also have a lot of business background and I just knew there was something not quite entrepreneurial about this. There was something about it that was not going to work out well. And so, like I said, when you sign with a partner, when you sign with a network, you had to leave the partner program. And the partner program, the AdSense rates that you would get paid would vary. And so the allure was, well, I could get a guaranteed rate of pay from this company, or I can get a varying rate of pay from Google AdSense. And that was kind of the difference. And the guarantee kind of felt good. And the access to people and brands, et cetera, felt good. So people would leave the partner program, become a part of a network. The Google AdSense would then get paid to the network. And that is where the network would get the majority of the funding to pay the creator as contracted. So anyway, I'm going like super deep on this network thing because it was just like, so many red flags. Hello. Because your Google AdSense could go up significantly at any time. And if you were signed with a network, you're stuck there for probably a year, depending on what contract you signed. And that's just business. They want to continue to collect their check. They want to continue to do business as they had agreed with you. And so if you didn't like how it was going, you were stuck there. Not only that, your contract ends. Let's say you're ready, you're chomping at the bit to leave. Well, cool, you can leave, but you're no longer a part of the YouTube partner program because you were a part of that network. So in some situations, people had a hard time then getting back on the radar of YouTube, who was still very particular about who they let into the YouTube partner program, to try to get back into the YouTube partner program so that they could monetize again. So it was just kind of a big mess. And it really set the tone, I believe, for why representation companies, we need to look at them with a bigger microscope when we try to figure out what they're going to do for us to serve us as creators. And now networks, I think, I don't even really know where networks stand today, if I'm being completely honest with you. I have not paid attention whatsoever, but they set the tone, and now we have more talent agencies, right? Because you've got the Instagram models of the world, you've got podcasters that are going on to be radio show hosts. Like, it's insane the talent level that you can get to at this point. So now these more traditional talent companies from, way way back in the day are now becoming these companies that work with influencers on so many different levels. It's not just like this YouTube centric thing. So they all, of course, want to sign all these amazing influencers and get them these amazing deals. But there are so many influencers. I believe there's some mistakes happening that are causing influencers to think that this is a very coveted thing where it might just look like it looks good to be repped by a talent company. And it's not going to serve in the way that they actually need. All that backstory, I just felt like was really important for you to understand why I am so passionate about this topic, because there's a lot of history here and the internet is still so new. Like, we're talking about something that was happening in 2006 and 7 and 8 and 9 and then 10 and then 11, and then we continue down. That was not that long ago. And now we're just in a new kind of phase, but it's still like, it's not even 20 years old, this business in general. So clearly I have my business hat on today. So let's get into the mistakes that are happening because of all of this misunderstanding of the allure of, I need to sign with somebody so they can take care of me and make my business fly as an influencer. First, mistake number one, assuming that signing with a company so that you can send all of your emails to your manager is going to make your life easier and bring you bigger and better deals. I know it sounds so simple, but when you are in a situation of, I'm creating content, I'm doing an amazing job, I've got a lot of inbound inquiries, it starts to become a lot of pressure and a lot of work that is not related to creating content. It's related to building the business. So for the people who are thinking, I really need to get a manager, I really need to get a talent company to help me because I have all of this inbound, I'm not converting anything because I'm so busy creating and I'm trying to do what I do best. So I need someone's help. The problem is, if you're thinking this, it's probably because you're super overwhelmed, which is obvious, but you're also automatically assuming that that is going to serve you and it's going to help you. Now, when you think about getting signed on with a talent company and a manager, the rationale is always, I want to bring in more business. I want bigger deals. I want to work with the biggest brands. I want to be associated with these people, et cetera, et cetera. But you're feeling overwhelmed by something that you are able to do completely on your own, which is attract your own business. There's a reason why you've got all these DMs, you've got all these emails, you've got all this interest, and it's because you're doing an amazing job. So now a manager might be able to help you get the contract signed and do all this stuff, but they're not going to hold your hand all the way through the process. The workload is still the workload. Okay, you still have to track your projects. You still have to read your talking points. You still have to get everything done in a timely manner. You still have to get approvals. Creative control is still up for discussion in a huge way because there's just so many influencers. There's so much demand. There's so much attention. They know that they can get what they want somewhere else. And so the amount of work that's still going into getting it done isn't necessarily helped by a manager or a talent company, because they're just kind of doing the overarching work for you to make sure the contracts are signed and that you get paid, which is very useful. But you still have the brunt of the task of, what do I agree to in this contract? What do I have to say? I have to shoot it. If I do it wrong, I have to do a reshoot. Do I have all the props I need? Did I get everything I needed in the mail? Check the box. When are we getting this done? When are we reverse engineering the scheduling of everything? There's so many details. And simply having somebody to reply to your emails and help make the deal happen isn't actually taking a lot off of your plate. You still have a lot of heavy lifting to do. And not only that, you're essentially offering a percentage of everything you make to a company that's going to what? Sort through emails. And you attracted the work in the first place. The reality is, unless you're the top 1% of their clients, they're not running around pitching you to Pepsi and Sephora. Like, it's just not happening. They're working with their top 1% on those crazy deals, and that's where they're going to make a ton of money. But in the meantime, they're making a lot of cash flow money from the smaller groups of the smaller influencers, micro or even bigger than micro. I mean, it doesn't even matter how many followers you have. If you're not at 30 million on TikTok, then you're not in the top 1%. So, yeah, they're going to connect you to their other clients who are also brands, and that's great because they get to make more money. They get to take 20% from you, and they're going to take a cut of whatever they negotiated with their brand clients. So sure, you're going to make some of those additional brand deals from your agent or from your manager or whoever you're working with, but you're also agreeing to give them 20% of everything else, and they're not helping you really to get the job done. That is still 100% on you. You do not need to be exclusive to a talent company in order to make more money as an influencer. Let me say that again. You do not need to be exclusive to a talent company in order to make more money as an influencer. It is 100% not a requirement. You just need to get organized. That's it. They're going to call you anyway. These brands are going to call you anyway. They're finding you on their own. Their agents are finding you on your own. These agents that want to sign you are going to still come to you and say, hey, we want to work with you. I'm telling you, they come to me and they ask me to do work as well. They need content for their clients. They are given a budget for a campaign. They need impressions for that campaign. As long as they get the impressions for that campaign and you deliver the content exactly as their client sees fit, they did their job. So you don't have to agree to give 20% of everything to another company. They need you either way. And this is probably the biggest passion point that I have about this, because I'm just such a firm believer that if you are saying to yourself, I want to build my influencer company, then build your influencer company, build your business. You do not have to have a huge team to do this successfully. You just need to know how to teach someone to support you on the administrative side. And so if you're thinking, I really need help, I need support, and I'd love the access and I'd love more deals, you're just better off getting organized than you are parting with 20% of your revenue. You've got to think about how you're pricing yourself. You're going to give away 20% and you have to pay taxes on what you're making. Are you even making a business model that's going to support you at some point? Every dollar counts. So my team and I were talking about this, and in a lot of ways, and again, I will say, if there's a reason for a talent company that is outside of the fact that you're feeling overwhelmed, I completely understand why that's something you would still consider. But if you are actually growing a company around what you're doing with this work, you are thinking about how you can own the majority of the revenue. And so as we were talking about this, we were thinking we should really help people who are exploring this business, even people who are not trying to be influencers, but just need to have a better idea of how to train their assistants and represent them properly. Because what ends up happening in this business is somebody says, I need to hire a social media assistant. I need to hire a VA. I need to hire somebody to check my emails. The next biggest mistake, other than the one I just shared, The next biggest mistake is that you're hiring an assistant and assuming they're going to get it right at the beginning, and then they make mistakes, and then you fire them and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm the only one that knows how to do this, and I need a professional, I need a manager. You just get frustrated. The problem is your assistants, the people that you hire to help you, when they make mistakes, it's because they were simply not trained properly. And that is insanely avoidable, and they are insanely more affordable. So much more affordable than giving up 20% of your revenue every time. So anyway, the whole idea that we came up with, and it's really just an idea for now. There's not a sales page, there's nothing. But I just want to I just want to walk up to influencers and shake them and be like, "Oh my gosh, all you need to do is literally hire somebody and train them properly." So, this was the idea that came of this. Here's my question to you. Would you build your business with your own team if you had the right resource to help you train the team that you hire so that you can limit how much misunderstanding there is at the beginning? The thought was, if you wanted to hire somebody and then buy a course that you could literally just assign to that assistant as their first order of business. There's a course that is going to teach you exactly how you need to rep me in this situation. I have purchased it. Your job is to go through it. Then your job is to build the infrastructure, the project management, the email templates, the things that you need to do in order to represent me properly. All you have to do as the influencer is buy a resource for the assistant that you hire. That's it. They literally just dive right into that course right away. Because I was thinking to myself, my whole team knows how to do all of this. Everything from the emails to the project management to making sure that we don't have any reshoots, reverse engineering the due dates. Every contract is different. One agent might want 7 days to review your content, and another one might get back to you in 24 hours. Just making sure that you've planned accordingly so you know when the content's supposed to go out on time, which, by the way, is so much harder on YouTube. So much harder than TikTok. Because a TikTok can go out anytime. As soon as it's approved, you can just push it out. And if you have a more serious editorial calendar than that for a specific reason, then maybe you can join me in my struggle on YouTube. But on YouTube, we publish every Sunday. So we have to reverse engineer those dates perfectly so that we don't mess up our own editorial calendar. So not only do we have to have that video ready to go on time, that content from the sponsor needs to be approved on time in order for that to get into the video edit. And we need to get them the content to approve it for the period of time they need to. So there's just so many steps, right? But not only that, my team's also making assets for me. They're making thumbnails. They're making cover art for Instagram Reels. They're helping to edit that content. Maybe you need help with editing, just stuff like that. It's all just tasks in the process that need to get done. And if you have the right key people in place and they've been trained appropriately, then you don't have to go to a manager and hope that they're just going to save your life and just give them 20% and hope that that life saving is going to come. Because it's not in most cases. They're probably going to make you some deals. There may be some other reasons why it's an advantage to you. But if the overwhelm is the issue and you feel like you're disorganized and you feel like you can't grow because you can't get ahead, this is a key thing. I'm a huge believer in making smart business moves. One of them is not to assume that hiring a manager is going to take the brunt of the work off of you completely. They are not a turnkey solution that you think that they are, but they are going to charge you like they are. I want you to keep your profits and grow your team, because the more you build a culture of a team that supports the type of community that you are building in your work, the more you're building a real business that is totally and completely yours. The IP, the process, the standards, your baby, just as much as the content is. my baby is not just what I publish online. My baby is the process and how we get it done efficiently and in a way that I actually get to enjoy my life while also balancing doing this work. So anyway, this is just an idea for now. I wanted to gauge your interest. Would you build a business with your own team if you had the right resource to help you train the team members you hire? Would you buy a course that you could literally just assign to your new assistant so that they can learn how to best represent you and help you hang on to all your profits? We're just going to put a little survey in the show notes because I would love your thoughts on this. Please expand. If you're not an influencer and something else occurred to you, you're in a different type of business, let us know what you're thinking about that. It's just an idea for now, but I have been on this tirade like behind the scenes with my team, and my sister is really, really big on TikTok. So I talk to her about this stuff all the time. And so I was like, I need to ask my community what they think about this. And I think Detail Therapy will tell me what they think. So check it out. The link's in the description. It's just a little Google form. And I would love to know your thoughts. And that was the inspo for this episode of the podcast. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. Remember, subscribe for good vibes, kiss the ones you love, and go after the life you want. I'll see you back here next time. Cheers.